Mashpaka, Watchman Yirmiyahu, Qadashayam of Yasharal. And this Shabbat is actually the first Shabbat of summer. Yesterday was a new moon day, the beginning of summer. So we're in the 21st day of the fourth month. Hallelujah. Yahuah. And I had placed upon my mind, my heart and my mind yesterday to do a study on Al Yah and Al Yasha. Yahuah is Elohim and deliverance. Elohim is deliverance. Elohim is Yahuah or Yah, the great I am. And Elohim is Yasha, deliverance. It's really all about the Echad, sevenfold Ruach of Yahuah. That is the Ruach Ha'Qadash. And there are some differences in these two prophets' ministries, and it's a very large chunk of scripture that I want to go into today, so this video shall be very long. It's obviously not for everyone, because most sadly cannot endure anything that's long. They want the prophet to be summed up in a meme, an AI image with bullet points, They want the cliff notes. So be it. I'm going to ask the Father to Baruk this time in His Word. If you do have questions or comments, please feel free to leave them. Just understand that because of how, I'm arranged, I may not be able to answer or see all of those. It was completely silent here before I begun. And now there's all this disturbance happening. So Yahuwah rebuked that in Yahusha's name. And so we'll be in 1 Kings 17 through to the end, and then we'll be in 2 Kings all the way up to 13. So may Abba give me the strength and wisdom and clean lips to bring this to you guys today. And I pull all is well with you in your house, and that your love for Yahusha and your fear of Aluah enable you to guard His commandments, to remain a peculiar people in these last days. I do see a lot of people who are troubled and worried and looking at every little, bit of information that comes out exposing works of darkness. I've been seeing a lot of false teachers being exposed. Hallelujah. Yahuah. Sadly, they still have very large followings, and a lot of people are easily fooled still. But let's get into this, okay? 1 Kings 17, and I do pull all too that the sound is okay and there's no issues with the connection. And Al Yahu, the Tishbi, who was of the inhabitants of Gilead, said unto Achab, As Yahuwah Elohai of Yashar'Al lives, before whom I stand, there shall not be dew nor rain these years, but according to my words. And the word of Yahuwah came unto him, saying, Get you hence, and turn eastward, and hide yourself by the brook of Cherith, that is before the Yarden, and it shall be that you shall drink of the brook, and I have commanded the Abarim to feed you there. So he went and did according to the word of Yahuwah, for he went and dwelt by the brook Cherith, that is before the Yarden. And the Abarim brought him bread and flesh in the dawning, and bread and flesh in the evening, and he drank of the brook. And it came to pass after a while that the brook dried up, because there had been no rain in the land. So here we see a completion of the prophecy that he was going to be fed by these peoples. And it's interesting to note that it says they brought bread and flesh, which I'm sure you know is Kadash meat, like ox, lamb, sheep, goat, etc. So if it's of Yahuwah and you're not supposed to eat clean meat now all of a sudden by these false teachers, why this? Right? And we'll see more of this too. And it's everywhere in the scriptures. These people are just wolves in sheep's clothing with no understanding. And the word of Yahuwah came unto him, saying, Arise, get you to Sariphath, which belongs to Sidon, and dwell there. Behold, I have commanded a widow woman there to sustain you. So he arose and went to Sariphath, and when he came to the gate of the city, behold, the widow woman was there gathering sticks. And he called to her and said, Fetch me, I Palal, a little water in a vessel that I may drink. And as she was going to fetch it, he called to her and said, Bring me, I Palal, a morsel of bread in your hand. And she said, As Yahuwah, Aluchaika lives, I have not a cake, but a handful of meal in a barrel and a little oil in a cruse. Behold, I am gathering 2 sticks, that I may go in to dress it for me and my son, that we may eat and die. And Al-Yah, sorry, it's written so crazy, said unto her, Fear not, go and do as you have said, but make me therefore a little cake first, and bring it unto me, and after make for you and for your son. For thus says Yahuwah, Aluah of Yasharal, the barrel of meal shall not waste, neither shall the cruse of oil fail, until that day Yahuwah sends rain upon the earth. And she went and did according to the saying of Al-Yah. And she and he and her house did eat a multitude of days, and the barrel of meal wasted not, neither did the cruse of oil, according to the word of Yahuwah, which he spoke by Al-Yah. Okay, we're seeing miracles here, right? And it came to pass after these things that the son of the woman, the mistress of the house, fell sick, and his sickness was so sore that there was no breath left in him. And she said, Al-Yah, what have I to do with you, O man of Elohim? Are you come to me to call my chata, transgressions, to remembrance, and to slay my son? And he said unto her, Give me your son. And he took him out of her bosom, and carried him up into the loft where he abode, and laid him upon his own bed. And he cried unto Al-Yahuah, and said, O Yahuwah, Aluchai, have you also brought evil upon this widow, of whom I sojourn, by slaying her son? And he stretched himself upon the child 3 times, and cried unto Al-Yahuah, and said, O Yahuwah, Elohai, I Palal, let this child's soul come into him again. And Yahuwah heard the voice of Al-Yah, and the soul of the child came into him again, and he revived. And Al-Yah took the child, and brought him down out of the chamber into the house, and delivered him unto his mother. And Al-Yah said, See, your son lives. And the woman said to Al-Yah, Now by this I know that you are a man of Elohim, and that the word of Yahuwah is in your mouth, and is truth. Hallelujah. So we have like a type of raising of the dead, or like a resurrection by the prophet Al-Yah. Hallelujah. Great power in these prophets. Okay, chapter 18. And it came to pass after a multitude of days that the word of Yahuwah came to Al-Yah in the 3rd year, saying, Go show yourself unto Achab. I will send rain upon the earth. And Al-Yah went to show himself unto Achab. And there was a sore famine in Shamuran. And Achab called Abed-Yahu, which was the governor of his house, Now Abijah feared Yahuah greatly, for it was so when Jezebel cut off unreal with these dogs. It's unreal. They were not doing any of this. The enemy is trying to distract me. Ahab called Abijah, which was the governor of his house. Now Abijah feared Yahuah greatly, for it was so when Jezebel cut off the prophets of Yahuah that Abijah took 100 prophets and hid them by 50 in a cave, and fed them with bread and water. And Ahab said to Abijah, Go into the land, unto all fountains of water, and unto all brooks. Perchance we may find grass to save the horses and mules alive, that we lose not all the beasts. So they divided the land between them to pass through it. Ahab went one way by himself, and Abijah went another way by himself. And Abijah was in the way. Behold, Alyah met him, and knew him, and fell on his face, and said, Are you that my Adonai Alyah? And he answered and said, I am. Go tell your Adonai, behold, Alyah is here. And he said, What have I transgressed, that you would deliver your servant into the hand of Ahab to slay me? As Yahuah, Aluhaika lives, there is no nation or kingdom whither my Adonai has not sent to seek you. And when they said, He is not there, he took 7 oaths of the kingdom of the nation, that they found you not. And now you say, Go tell your Adonai, behold, Alyah is here? And it shall come to pass, as soon as I am gone from you, that the Ruach Yahuah shall carry you whither I know not. And so when I come to tell Ahab, and he cannot find you, he shall slay me. But I, your servant, fear Yahuah from my youth. Was it not told my Adonai what I did when Jezebel slew the prophets of Yahuah, how I hid 100 of the prophets, Yahuah's prophets, by 50 in a cave, and fed them with bread and water? And now you say, Go tell your Adonai, behold, Alyah is here, and he shall slay me. And Alyah said, As Yahuah Sabaoth lives, before whom I stand, I will surely show myself unto him this day. So Abijah went to meet Ahab and told him, and Ahab went to meet Alyah. And it came to pass, when Ahab saw Alyah, that Ahab said unto him, Are you he that troubles Yashar'Al? And he answered, I have not troubled Yashar'Al, but you and your father's house, in that you have forsaken the commandments of Yahuah, and have followed Baalim. Now therefore, send and gather to me all Yashar'Al unto Mount Carmel, and the prophets of Baal 450, and the prophets of Asherah 400, which eat at Jezebel's table. So Ahab sent unto all the children of Yashar'Al, and gathered the prophets together unto Mount Carmel. And Alyah came unto all the people, and said, How long halt you between 2 opinions? If Yahuah be Elohim, follow him, but if Baal, then follow him. And the people answered him not a word. Then said Alyah unto the people, I, even I, only remain a prophet of Yahuah, for Baal prophets are 450. Let them therefore give us 2 bullock, and let them choose 1 bullock for themselves, and cut it in pieces, and lay it on wood, and put no fire under. And I will dress the other bullock, and lay it on wood, and put no fire under. And call ye unto the name of your Elohim, and I will call unto the name of Yahuah. And the Elohim that answers by fire, let him be Elohim. And all the people answered and said, It is well spoken. And Alyah said unto the prophets of Baal, Choose you 1 of the bullock for yourself, and dress it first, for ye are a multitude, and call in the name of your Elohim, but put no fire under. And they took the bullock which was given them, and they dressed it, and called upon the name of Baal from dawning until noon, saying, O Baal, hear us. But there was no voice, nor any that answered. And they leapt upon the altar which was made. And it came to pass at noon that Yah mocked them and said, Cry aloud, for he is an Elohim. Either he is talking, or he is pursuing, or he is in a journey, or perchance he sleeps and must be awakened. And they cried aloud and cut themselves after their manner with knives and lancets, till blood gushed out upon them. And it came to pass, when the midday passed, and they prophesied, that until the time of the offering of the evening sacrifice, that there was neither voice, nor any answer, nor any that regarded. And Yah said to all the people, Come near unto me. And all the people came near unto him, and he repaired the altar of Yahuwah that was broken down. And Yah took 12 stones according to the number of the tribes of the sons of Yaakov, unto whom the word of Yahuwah came, saying, Yashar'Al shall be your name. And with the stones he built an altar in the name of Yahuwah, and he made a trench about the altar, as great as would contain 2 measures of seed. And he put the wood in order, and cut the bullock in pieces, and laid him on the wood, and said, Fill flour barrels with water, and pour it upon ascending smoke sacrifice and on the wood. And he said, Do it a second time. And they did it a second time. And he said, Do it a third time. And they did it a third time. And the water ran round about the altar, and he filled the trench also with water. And it came to pass, at the time of the offering of the evening sacrifice, that Yah, the prophet, came near and said. So here's where I was saying another example about a Qadash meat offering. Okay, we're going to see that the man of Elohim is the one who's ordaining or choosing or instructing that they do this with a bull, right? Which is a clean food, a clean cattle. And you're going to see how Yahuwah receives it. Yahuwah, Elohai of Abraham, Yitzhak, and Yashar'Al. Let it be known this day that you are Elohim and Yashar'Al, and that I am your servant, and that I have done all the things at your word. Hear me, O Yahuwah, hear me, that this people may know that you are Yahuwah Elohim, and that you have turned their heart back again. Then the fire of Yahuwah fell and consumed the ascending smoke sacrifice, and the wood, and the stones, and the dust, and licked up the water that was in the trench. And when all the people saw it, they fell on their faces, and they said, Yahuwah, he is Elohim. Yahuwah, he is Elohim. And Yah said unto them, Take the prophets of Baal, let none of them escape. And they took them, and Yah brought them down to the brook of Gishon, and slew them there. And I don't know how many people realize how serious this matter is. You know, especially when you consider all the people who are leading and instructing in doctrines of devils under names of four mighty ones, and you could see how the prophet Yah dealt with them with complete and total approval from Yahuwah. Think about that. Yah said unto Achab, Get you up, eat and drink, for there is a sound of abundance of rain. So Achab went up to eat and to drink, and Yah went up to the top of Carmel. And he cast himself down upon the earth, and put his face between his knees, and said to his servants, Go up now, look toward the sea. And he went up and looked, and said, There is nothing. And he said, Go again 7 times. And it came to pass at the 7th time that he said, Behold, there arise a little cloud out of the sea, like a man's hand. And he said, Go up, my son, unto Achab, prepare your chariot, and get you down, that the rain stops you not. And it came to pass in the meanwhile that the heavens were black with clouds and wind, and there was a great rain. And Ahab rode and went to Yisrael. And the hand of Yahuah was on Yah, and he girded up his loins and ran before Ahab to the entrance of Yisrael. Chapter 19. And Ahab told Jezebel all that Yah had done, and withal how he had slain all the prophets with the sword. And Jezebel sent a messenger unto Yah, saying, So let the Elohim do to me, and more also, if I make not your life as the life of one of them by tomorrow about this time. And when he saw that, he arose and went for his life, and came to Beer-sheba, which belonged to Yehudah, and left his servant there. But he himself went a day's journey into the wilderness, and came and sat under a juniper tree. He requested for himself that he might die, and said, It is enough now, O Yahuwah, take away my life, for I am not better than my fathers. And as he lay and slept under the juniper tree, behold, then an angel touched him, and said unto him, Arise and eat. And he looked, and behold, there was a cake baked on the coals, and a cruse of water at his head. And he did eat and drink, and laid him down again. And the angel of Yahuwah came again the second time, and touched him, and said, Arise and eat, because the journey is too great for you. And he arose and did eat and drink, and he went in the strength of the meal 40 days and 40 nights unto Horeb, mount of Elohim. And he came thither unto a cave, and lodged there. And behold, the word of Yahuwah came to him, and he said unto him, What are you doing here, Yah? And he said, I have been very jealous for Yahuwah, Al-Hai Sabaoth, for the children of Yashar'Al have forsaken your oath, thrown down your altars, and slain your prophets with the sword. And I, even I, only am left, and they seek my life to take it away. And he said, Go forth and stand up upon the mount before Yahuwah. And behold, Yahuwah passed by, and a great and strong wind rent the mountains, and broke in pieces the rocks before Yahuwah. But Yahuwah was not in the wind. And after the wind an earthquake, but Yahuwah was not in the earthquake. And after the earthquake's fire, but Yahuwah was not in the fire. And after the fire, still a small voice. And it was so, when Yah heard it, that he wrapped his face in his mantle, and went out and stood in the entering of the cave. And behold, there came a voice unto him, and said, What are you doing here, Yah? And he said, I have been very jealous for Yahuwah Elohim, because the children of Yashar'Al have forsaken your oath, thrown down altars, and slain your prophets with the sword. And I, even I, am left, and they seek my life to take it away. And Yahuwah said unto him, Go, return on your way to the wilderness of Damascus, and when you come, anoint Hazael to be king over Aram, and Yahu the son of Nimshi shall you anoint to be king over Yashar'Al, and Yah the son of Shaphat of Abal Machulah shall you anoint to be prophet in your room. And it shall come to pass that him that escapes the sword of Hazael shall Yahu slay, and him that escapes from the sword of Yahu shall Al-Shah, right? Slay. Yet I have left 7,000 in Yashar'Al, all the knees which have not bowed unto Baal, and every mouth which has not kissed him. The remnant, even though the prophet felt that he was alone in his work, right? So he departed thence and found Al-Shah, the son of Shaphat, who was plowing with 12 yokes of oxen before him, and he with the 12th, and Aliyah passed by him and cast him his mantle upon him. And he left the oxen and ran after Yah and said, Let me, I Palal, kiss my father and my mother, and then will I follow you. And he said, Go back again, for what have I done to you? And he returned back from him, and took a yoke of the oxen, and slew them, and boiled their flesh with the instrument of the ox, and gave unto the people, and they did eat. Then he arose, and went after Yah, and ministered unto him. And see, these false teachers would have you believe that somehow that was unclean. It's insanity. Chapter 20. And Ben-Hadad, the king of Aram, gathered all his host together, and there were 32 kings with him, and horses and chariots. And he went up and besieged Shamaron, and warred against it. And he sent messengers to Achab, king of Yashar'Al, into the city. And he said unto him, Thus says Ben-Hadad, Your silver and your gold is mine, your females and your children, even the fairest, are mine. And the king of Yashar'Al answered and said, My Adonai, O king, according to your saying, I am yours and all that I have. And the messenger came again and said, Thus speaks Ben-Hadad, saying, Although I have sent unto you, saying, You shall deliver me your silver and gold and your females and your children, yet I will send my servants unto you tomorrow about this time, and they shall search your house and the houses of your servants. And it shall be that whatsoever is pleasant in your eyes, they shall put it in their hand and take it away. Then the king of Yashar'Al called all the elders of the land and said, Mark, I Palal, and see how this man seeks mischief. For he sent unto me for my females and my children and my silver and my gold, and I denied him not. And all the elders and all the people said unto him, Hearken not unto him, nor consent to it. Wherefore he said unto the messengers of Ben-Hadad, Tell my Adonai the king, all that you said, all that you did send for to your servant at the first will I do, but the second thing I may not do. And the messengers departed and brought him the word. And Ben-Hadad said unto him, and said, The Elohim do so unto me, and more also, if the dust of Shamaron shall suffice for handfuls for all the people that follow me. And the king of Yashar'Al answered and said, Tell him, let not him that gird on his harness boast himself as he that puts it off. And it came to pass, when Ben-Hadad heard this message, and he was drinking, he and the kings in the pavilion, that he said unto his servants, Place yourself in array. And they placed themselves in array against the city. And behold, there came a prophet unto Achab, king of Yashar'Al, saying, Thus says Yahuah, Have you seen all this great multitude? Behold, I will deliver it into your hand this day, and you shall know that I am Yahuah. And Achab said, By whom? And he said, Thus says Yahuah, even by the young males of the princes of the province. Then he said, Whom shall order the battle? And he answered, You. Then he numbered the young males of the princes of the province, and they were 232. And after them he numbered all the people, all the children of Yashar'Al, being 7,000. And they went out at noon, but Ben-Hadad was drinking himself drunk in the pavilions, he and the kings, and the 32 kings that helped him. And the young males of the princes of the province went out first. And Ben-Hadad sent out, and they told him, saying, There are males come out of Shamaron. And he said, Whether they come out for Shalum, take them alive, or whether they come out for war, take them alive. So these young males of the princes of the province came out of the city, and the army which followed them, and they slew every one his man. And the Amarim fled, and Yashar'Al pursued them, and Ben-Hadad, the king of Aram, escaped on a horse with the horsemen. And the king of Yashar'Al went out and smote the horses and the chariots, and slew the Amarim with a great slaughter. And the prophet came to the king of Yashar'Al and said unto him, Go strengthen yourself, and mark, and see what you do. For at the return of the year the king of Aram will come up against you. And the servant of the king of Aram said unto him, Their Elohai is the Elohim of the hills. Therefore they were stronger than we. But let us fight against them in the plain, and surely we shall be stronger than they. And do this thing. Take the kings away, every man out of his place, and put captains in their rooms, and number you an army, like the army that you have lost, horse for horse and chariot for chariot, and we will fight against them in the plain, and surely we shall be stronger than they. And he hearkened unto their voice and did so. And it came to pass at the return of the year that Ben-Hadad numbered the Amorim and went up to Aphach to fight against Yashar'Al. And the children of Yashar'Al were numbered, and were all present, and went against them. And the children of Yashar'Al pitched before them like two little flocks of kids, but the Amorim filled the country. They were greatly outnumbered, right? And there came a man of Elohim and spoke unto the king of Yashar'Al and said, Thus says Yahuah, because the Amorim have said, Yahuah is Elohai of the hills, but not Elohai of the valleys, therefore will I deliver all this great multitude into your hand, and you shall know that I am Yahuah. Hallelujah. And they pitched one over against the other 7 days, and so it was, that in the seventh day the battle was joined, and the children of Yashar'Al slew of the Amorim 100,000 foot males in 1 day, but the rest fled to Aphach into the city, and there a wall fell upon 27,000 of them that were left, and Ben-Hadad fled and came into the city inner chamber. And his servants said to him, Behold now, we have heard that the kings of the house of Yashar'Al are filled with chesed. Let us, I Palal, put sackcloth on our loins, ropes upon our heads, and go to the kings of Yashar'Al, perchance they will save your life. So they girded sackcloth on their loins and put ropes on their heads, and came to the king of Yashar'Al and said, Your servant Ben-Hadad says, I Palal, let me live. And he said, Is he yet alive? He is my brother. Now the males did diligently observe whether anything would come from him, and did hastily catch it. And they said, Your brother Ben-Hadad. Then he said, Go ye, bring him. Then Ben-Hadad came forth to him, and he caused him to come up into the chariot. And Ben-Hadad said unto him, The cities which my father took from your fathers I will restore, and you shall make streets for him in Damascus. And my father made it Shamaron. Then said Achab, I will send you away with this oath. So that he cut an oath with him and sent him away. And a certain man of the sons of the prophets said unto his neighbor in the word of Yahuah, Smite me, I Palal. And the man refused to smite him. Then said he unto him, Because you have not obeyed the voice of Yahuah, behold, as soon as you are departed from me, a lion shall slay you. And as soon as he was departed from him, a lion found him and slew him. Then he found another man and said, Smite me, I Palal. And the man smote him, so that in the smiting he wounded him. So the prophet departed and waited for the king by the way, and disguised himself with ashes upon his face. And as the king passed by, he cried unto the king and said, Your servant went out in the midst of the battle, and behold, a man turned aside and brought a man unto me and said, Guard this man. If by any means he be missing, then shall your life be for his life, or else you shall pay a talent of silver. And as your servant was busy here and there, he was gone. And the king of Yashar'Al said unto him, So shall your judgment be. You yourself have decided it. And he hastened and took the ashes away from his face, and the king of Yashar'Al discerned him, that he was a prophet. And he said unto him, Thus says Yahuah, because you have let go out of your hand a man whom I have appointed to order destruction. Therefore your life shall go for his life, and your people for his people. And the king of Yashar'Al went to his house heavy and displeased, and came to Shamron. Chapter 21. And it came to pass after these things that Naboth the Yezreelite had a vineyard which was in Yashar'Al, hard by the palace of Ahab, king of Shamron. And Ahab spoke to Naboth, saying, Give me your vineyard, that I may have it for a garden of herbs, because it is near unto my house, and I will give you for you a better vineyard than it. Or if it seems better to you, I will give you its value in money. And Naboth said to Ahab, Yahuah forbid me, that I should give you the inheritance of my fathers? And Ahab came into his house heavy and displeased because of the word of Naboth the Yezreelite, that he had spoken to him. For he said, I will not give you the inheritance of my fathers. And he laid him down upon his bed and turned away his face and would not eat bread. But Yazabal, his Ashah, came to him and said, Why is your Ruach so sad, that you eat no bread? And he said unto her, Because I spoke to Naboth the Yezreelite, and say unto him, Give me your vineyard for money, or else, if it pleases you, I'll give you another vineyard for it. And he answered, I will not give you my vineyard. And Yazabal said unto him, Do you now govern the kingdom of Yashar'Al? Arise and eat bread, and let your heart be merry. I will give you the vineyard of Naboth the Yezreelite. So she wrote a letter in Ahab's name, and sealed it with his seal, and sent the letter unto the elders and to the nobles that were in the city dwelling with Naboth. And she wrote in the letter, saying, Proclaim a fast, and place Naboth on high among the people, and place 2 males, sons of Baalial, before him, to bear witness against him, saying, You did blaspheme Elohim and the king, and then carry him out and stone him, that he may die. And the males of the city, even the elders and the nobles, whom were the inhabitants of the city, did as Yazabal had sent unto them, and as it was written in the letter which she had sent to them. They proclaim a fast, placed Naboth on high among the people. And there came in 2 males, children of Belial, sat before them, and the males of Belial witnessed against him, even against Naboth, in the presence of the people, saying, Naboth did blaspheme Elohim and the king. And they carried him forth out of the city, and they stoned him with stones, so that he died. Then they sent to Yazabal, saying, Naboth is stoned and is dead. And it came to pass, when Yazabal heard that Naboth was stoned and was dead, that Yazabal said to Ahab, Arise, take possession of the vineyard of Naboth the Yezreelite, for he refused to give you he refused to give you for money, for Naboth is not alive, but is dead. And it came to pass that Ahab heard that Naboth was dead, and Ahab rose up to go down to the vineyard of Naboth the Yezreelite and take possession of it. Look at that Yazabel spirit, man. And the word of Yahuah came to Aliyah the Tishbi, saying, Arise, go down to meet Ahab the king of Yashar'Al, which is in Shamron. Behold, he is in the vineyard of Naboth, whether he is gone down to possess it. And you shall speak unto him, saying, Thus says Yahuah, Have you killed and also taken possession? And you shall speak unto him, saying, Thus says Yahuah, In the place where dogs lick the blood of Naboth, shall dogs lick your blood, even yours. And Ahab said to Aliyah, Have you found me, O my enemy? And he answered, I have found you, because you have sold yourself to work evil in the sight of Yahuah. Behold, I will bring evil upon you, and will take away your posterity, and will cut off from Ahab him that pisses against the wall, and him that is shut up and left in Yashar'Al. And I will make your house like the house of Jeroboam, the son of Nabat, and like the house of Baasha, the son of Ahiyahu. For the provocation wherewith you have provoked me to anger, and made Yashar'Al to transgress, and of Yazabal also spoke Yahuah, saying, the dog shall eat Yazabal by the wall of Yashar'Al. Him that dies of Achab in the city the dog shall eat, and him that dies in the field shall the fowls of the air eat. But there was none like unto Achab, which did sell himself to work wickedness in the sight of Yahuah, whom Yazabal his Ashab did stir up, and he did very abominable in following idols, according to all things, as did the Amorim, whom Yahuah cast out before the children of Yashar'Al. And it came to pass, when Achab heard these words, that he rent his clothes and put sackcloth upon his flesh, and fasted and lay in sackcloth and went softly. And the word of Yahuah came to Aliyah the Tishbe, saying, see how Achab humbles himself before me? Because he humbles himself before me, I will not bring the evil in his day, but in his son's day will I bring the evil upon his house. Baruk Atah Yahuah. Chapter 22. And they continued 3 years without war between Aram and Yashar'Al. And it came to pass in the 3rd year that Yahusha, the king of Yehudah, came down to the king of Yashar'Al. And the king of Yashar'Al said unto his servants, know you that Ramuth in Gilead is yours? And we be still, and take it not out of the hand of the king of Aram. And he said unto Yahusha, will you go with me to battle Ramoth Gilead? And Yahusha said the king of Yashar'Al, I am as you are, my people as your people, my horses as your horses. And Yahusha said unto the king of Yashar'Al, inquire, I palaw you, at the word of Yahuah this day. Then the king of Yashar'Al gathered the prophets together, about 400, and said unto them, shall I guard Ramoth Gilead to battle, or shall I forbear? And they said, go up, for Adoni shall deliver it into the hand of the king. And Yehoshaphat said, is there not here a prophet of Yahuah besides, that we might inquire of him? And the king of Yashar'Al said unto Yehoshaphat, there is yet one man, Mikayahu, the son of Yimlah, but whom we may inquire of Yahuah. But I hate him, for he does not prophesy tube concerning me, but evil. And Yehoshaphat said, let not the king say so. Then the king of Yashar'Al called an officer and said, hasten hither Mikayahu, the son of Yimlah. And the king of Yashar'Al and Yehoshaphat the king of Yehudah sat each on his throne, having put on their robes, in a void place in the entrance of the gate of Shamaron, and all the prophets prophesied before them. And Tzedkiyahu, the son of Cananah, made him horns of iron, and said, thus says Yahuah, with these shall you push the Amorim until you have consumed them. And all the prophets prophesied so, saying, go up to Ramoth Gilead, and prosper, for Yahuah shall deliver it into the king's hand. And the messenger that was gone to call Mikayahu spoke unto him, saying, behold, now the words of the prophet declare, tube unto the king with one mouth. Let your word, I Palal, be like the word of one of them, and speak that which is tube. And Mikayahu said, as Yahuah lives, what Yahuah says unto me, that will I speak. Baruk Yahuah. So he came to the king, and the king said unto him, Mikayahu, shall we go against Ramoth Gilead to battle, or shall we forbear? And he answered, and he said, go and prosper, for Yahuah shall deliver it into the hand of the king. And the king said unto him, how much time shall I adjure you, that you tell me nothing but that which is true, in the name of Yahuah? So he didn't believe him. And he said, I saw all Yashar'Al scattered upon the hills, as sheep that have no shepherd. And Yahuwah said, these have no master. Let them return every man to his house in Shalum. And the king of Yashar'Al said unto Yehoshaphat, did I not tell you that he would not prophesy tube, but evil? And he said, hear therefore the word of Yahuwah. I saw Yahuwah sitting on his throne, and all the hosts of heaven standing by him, in his right hand and on his left. And Yahuwah said, who shall persuade Achab that he may go up and fall at Ramoth Gilead? And one said on this manner, and another said on that manner. And there came forth a Ruach, and stood before Yahuwah, and said, I will persuade him. And Yahuwah said unto him, wherewith? And he said, I will go forth, and I will be a lying Ruach in the mouth of all the prophets. And he said, you shall persuade him, and prevail also. Go forth and do so. Now therefore, behold, Yahuwah has put a lying Ruach in the mouth of all these your prophets, and Yahuwah has spoken evil concerning you. But Tzadikiyahu, the son of Ka'anah, went near and smote Mikayahu on the cheek, and said, which way went the Ruach Yahuwah from me to speak unto you? And Mikayahu said, behold, you shall see in that day when you shall go into an inner chamber to hide yourself. And the king of Yashar'Al said, take Mikayahu and carry him back unto Aman, the governor of the city, and to Uash, the king's son, and say, thus says the king, put this fellow in the prison and feed him with bread of affliction and water of affliction until I come in Shalom. And Mikayahu said, if you return at all in Shalom, Yahuwah has not spoken by me. And he said, hearken, O people, every one of you. So the king of Yashar'Al and Yehoshaphat, the king of Yehuda, went up to Ramoth Gilead. And the king of Yashar'Al said unto Yehoshaphat, I will disguise myself and enter into the battle, but put on your robes. And the king of Yashar'Al disguised himself and went into the battle. But the king of Aram commanded his 32 captains that had rule over the chariots, saying, fight neither with small nor great, save only the king of Yashar'Al. And it came to pass, when the captains of the chariots saw Yehoshaphat, that they said, surely it is the king of Yashar'Al. And they turned aside to fight against him. And Yehoshaphat cried out. And it came to pass, when the captains of the chariots perceived that it was not the king of Yashar'Al, that they turned back and pursue him no more. And a certain man drew a bow at a venture and smote the king of Yashar'Al between the joints of his harness. Wherefore he said unto the driver of the chariot, turn your hand and carry me out of this host, for I am wounded. And the battle increased that day, and the king stayed up in his chariot against Aramim, and died at the evening, and the blood ran out of the wound into the midst of the chariot. And there went the proclamation throughout the host about the going down of the sun, saying, every man to his city, and every man to his own country. So the king died, and was brought to Shamaron, and they buried the king in Shamaron. And one washed the chariot in the pool of Shamaron, and the dogs licked up his blood. And they washed his armor, according unto the word of Yahuwah, which he spoke. Now the rest of the acts of Achab, and all that he did, and the ivory house which he made, and all the cities that he built, are they not written in the Sephar of the Chronicles of the kings of Yashar'Al? So Achab slept with his fathers, and Achazyahu, his son, reigned in his stead. And Yehoshaphat, the son of Achab, began to reign over Yehuda in the 4th year. And Achab, king of Yashar'Al, Yehoshaphat was 35 years old when he began to reign, and he reigned 25 years in Jerusalem. And his mother name was Azubah, the daughter of Shilchi. Wow. And he walked in the ways of Achah his father. He turned not aside from it, doing that which was right in the eyes of Yahuwah, Nevertheless, his places were not taken away, for the people offered and burnt incense, yet in the high places. And Yehoshaphat made Shalom with the king of Yashar'Al. Now the rest of the acts of Yehoshaphat and his might that he showed and how he warred, are they not written in the Sephar, the chronicles of the kings of Yehudah, and the remnant of the Soddomim, which remained in the days of his father Achah, he took out of the land? There was then no king in Adam, it says Edom, Adam. A deputy was king. Yehoshaphat made ships of Tarshish to go to Ephur for gold, but they went not, for the ships were broken at Etzongavar. Then said Yahuah, the son of Achab, unto Yehoshaphat, let my servants go with your servants in these ships. But Yehoshaphat would not, and Yehoshaphat slept with the fathers, and was buried with his fathers in the city of Daud his father, and Yahuram his son reigned in his stead. And Yahuah, the son of Achab, began to reign over Yashar'Al in Shamaron, the 17th year of Yehoshaphat king of Yehudah, and reigned 2 years over Yashar'Al. And he did evil in the sight of Yahuah, and walked in the way of his father, and in the ways of his mother, Yazbah, and in the way of Yarubam, the son of Nabuth, or Nebat, who made Yashar'Al to Chata, transgress. For he served Baal and worshipped him, and provoked to anger Yahuah Elohai of Yashar'Al according to all that his fathers had done. Okay, Baruk Atah, that's the end of 1 Kings. But we are going to continue. Like I said, we have like 13 more chapters to go today. So may Yahuah make it so. And this is going to be 2 Kings. Okay. Chapter 1. Then Moab rebelled against Yashar'Al after the death of Achab, and Yahuah fell down through a lattice in his upper chamber that was in Shamaron, and was sick. And he sent messengers and said unto them, Go inquire of Baal-zebub, the Elohai of Ekron, whether I shall recover of this disease. But the angel of Yahuah said to Aliyah the Tishbe, Arise and go to meet the messengers of the king of Shamaron, and say unto them, Is it not because there is not a Elohim in Yashar'Al that you go to inquire of Baal-zebub, the Elohai of Ekron? Now therefore, thus says Yahuah, you shall not come down from that bed on which you are gone up, but shall surely die. And Aliyah departed. And when the messengers turned back unto him, he said unto them, Why are ye now turned back? And they said, There came a man up to meet us, and said, Go, turn again unto the king that sent you, and say unto him, Thus says Yahuah, Is it not because there is not an Elohim in Yashar'Al that you send to inquire of Baal-zebub, the Elohim of Ekron? Therefore you shall not come down from the bed on which you are gone up, and shall surely die. And he said unto them, What manner of man was he which came up to meet you and told you these words? And they answered, He was a hairy man, and girt with a belt of leather about his loins. And he said, It is Aliyah the Tishbe. Then the king sent unto the captain of 50 with his 50, and he went up to him, and behold, he sat upon the top of the hill. And he spoke unto him, Man of Elohim, the king says, Come down. And Aliyah answered and said unto the captain of the 50, If I be a man of Elohim, then let fire come down from heaven and consume you and your 50. And there came down fire from heaven and consumed him and his 50. Again also he sent unto him another captain of 50 with his 50. And he said, O man of Elohim, thus has the king said, Come down quickly. And Aliyah answered and said unto them, If I be a man of Elohim, let fire come down from heaven and consume you and your 50. And the fire of Elohim came down from heaven and consumed him and his 50. And he sent again a captain of the third 50 with his 50. And the third captain of 50 went up and came and fell on his knees before Yah and besought him and said, O man of Elohim, I Palal, let my life and the life of my 50 servants be precious in your sight. Behold, there came fire down from heaven and burnt up 2 captains of the former 50s with their 50s. Therefore let my life be precious in your sight. And the angel of Yahuwah said unto Yah, Go down with him, be not afraid of him. And he arose and went down with him, and said unto the king, and he said unto him, Thus says Yahuwah, for as much as you have sent messengers to inquire of Baal-zebub, the Elohai of Akron, is it not because there is no Elohim in Yashar'Al that you inquire of his word? Therefore you shall not come down off the bed in which you have gone up, but shall surely die. So he died, according to the word of Yahuwah, which Yah had spoken. And Yaram reigned in his stead in the 2nd year of Yahuram, the son of Yahusha, king of Yehuda, because he had no son. Now the rest of the acts of Achaziyahu, which he did, are they not written in the Sephar of the Chronicles of the Kings of Yashar'Al? Chapter 2. And it came to pass when Yahuwah would take up Aliyah into heaven by a whirlwind, that Aliyah went with Elisha from Galgal. And Aliyah said unto Yasha, Tarry here, I Palal, for Yahuwah has sent me to Bat-al. And Yasha said unto him, As Yahuwah lives, and as your soul lives, I will not leave you. So they went down to Baal, and the sons of the prophets that were at Baal came forth to Yasha and said unto him, Know you that Yahuwah will take away your Adonai from your head today? Like as a cover, I guess. Take away from your head today? Yeah, it does make me think of head covering. And later there's these mocking, probably devil-possessed children that say, Go up, you bald head. Go up, you bald head. Saying basically that you're not covered by Yahuwah, which he most certainly is. Anyway, lost my place. Bear with me. And he said, Yea, I know of it. He told, Hold your Shalum. And Aliyah said unto him, Yasha, tarry here, I Palal, for Yahuwah has sent me to Yaricho. And he said, As Yahuwah lives, and as your soul lives, I will not leave you. So they came to Yaricho. And the sons of the prophets that were at Yaricho came to Yasha and said unto him, Know ye that Yahuwah will take away your Adonai from your head today? And he answered, Yea, I know it. Hold your Shalom. And Yah said unto him, Tarry, I Palal here, for Yahuwah has sent me to the Yarden. And he said, As Yahuwah lives, and as your soul lives, I will not leave you. And they too went on. And 50 males of the sons of the prophets went and stood to view afar off. And they too stood by the Yarden. And Yah took his mantle and wrapped it together and smote the water. And they were divided hither and thither. So the two went over on dry land. Not cross over. Parting the waters. Look at that. And it came to pass, when they were gone over, that Yah said unto Yasha, Ask what I shall do for you before I am taken away from you. And Yasha said, I Palal, let a double portion of the Ruach be upon me. And he said, You have asked a hard thing. Nevertheless, if you see me when I am taken from you, it shall be so unto you. But if not, it shall not. And it came to pass, as they still went on and talked, that behold, there appeared a chariot of fire and horses of fire, and parted them both asunder, and Aliyah went up by the whirlwind into heaven. Hallelujah. Look at all the spiritual imagery right here. And Yahusha saw it, and he cried, my father, the chariot of Yasharal, and the horsemen thereof. And he saw him no more. And he took hold of his own clothes, and rent them into two pieces. He took up also the mantle of Yahu that had fallen from him, and went back and stood by the bank of the Yarden. And he took the mantle of Yah that had fallen from him, and smote the waters, and said, where is Yahuwah, Elohai of Yah? And when he had also smitten the waters, they parted hither and thither, and Yahusha went over. And when the sons of the prophets which were to view at Jericho saw him, they said, the Ruach of Yah rests upon Yahusha. And they and they came to meet him, and bowed themselves to the ground before him. Okay, so this is like a passing of the torch, I guess you could say, in a way, right? And so the name of the first prophet, Elohim, is Yah, and the name of the second Elohim is deliverance. Yah is deliverance. Before me there is no other Elohim. And it says right here that they declared in Qadashness that the Ruach of Yah is upon Yahusha. So they're vessels, and this Ruach is the Ruach Ha'Qadash. Baruk Atah Yahuah, Shalum Shalum. Great to see you, Ak. So it's the same Ru, right? Okay, and so we saw some of the works of the first prophet, very bold message of repentance. Okay, and then we're going to see the works of the deliverer, the shadow of the deliverer, right? So let's take a look at this now. They said unto him, behold, now there be with your servants 50 strong males. Let them go, we Palal, and seek your Adonai, lest perchance the Ruach of Yahuwah has taken him up and cast him upon some mountain or into some valley. And he said, you shall not send. So they're like, we need to go look for Aliyah. Send out these 50 to go comb the area. And he's like, you don't need to do that. And when they urged him till he was ashamed, he said, fine, send. They sent therefore 50, and they sought for 3 days, but they could not find him. And when they came again to him, for he had tarried at Jericho, he said, did I not say unto you, go not? Why aren't you listening to me? Okay. And the males of the city said unto Yahusha, behold, I Palal, the situation of this city is pleasant, as my Adonai sees, but the water is not, and the ground is barren. And he said, bring me a new cruse, and put salt therein. And they brought it to him. And he went forth unto the spring of waters, and cast the salt in there, and said, thus says Yahuwah, I have healed these waters, there shall not be from thence any more death or barren land. Man, Baruk Yahuah, look at that. Cleansing these waters like Masha. These prophets are most Qadash. So the waters were healed unto this day, according to the saying of Yahusha, which he spoke. And he went up from thence unto Bathal. And he was going up by the way, there came forth little ones out of the city, mocking him, mocking spirits, saying unto him, go up, ye bald head, go up, ye bald head. And he turned back and looked on them and cursed them in the name of Yahuwah. And there came forth 2 she-bears out of the woods, and tore 42 of the children. And he went from thence to Mount Carmel, and from thence he returned to Shamron. Man, can people stomach this? Only the few. Chapter 3. And Yahuram, the son of Achab, began to reign over Yashar'Al and Shamron. The 18th year of Yahusha, king of Yehudah, and reigned 12 years. And he wrought evil in the sight of Yahuah, but not like his father and like his mother. For he put away the image of Baal that his father had made. Nevertheless, he cleaved unto the transgressions of Jeroboam the son of Nebat. Sorry, this one's tough. Nebat, okay, which made Yashar'Al to transgress. He departed not from it. And Masha, king of Moab, was a sheep master, and rendered unto the king of Yashar'Al 100,000 lambs and 100,000 rams with the wool. But it came to pass, when Achab was dead, that the king of Moab rebelled against the king of Yashar'Al. And King Yahuram went out of Shamron at the same time, numbering all of Yashar'Al. And he went and sent to Yahusha, the king of Yehudah, saying, the king of Moab has rebelled against me. Will you go with me against Moab to battle? And he said, I will go up. I am as you are, my people as your people, my horses as your horses. And he said, which way shall we go? And he answered, the way through the wilderness of Adam. It says Edom right here. The letters are Aleph, Dalet, Mem. It's Adam, unregenerate man. So the king of Yashar'Al went, and the king of Yehudah, and the king of Adam, and they fetched a compass 7 days' journey, and there was no water for the hosts and for the cattle that was following them. And the king of Yashar'Al said, alas, that Yahuwah has called these 3 kings together to deliver them into the hand of Moab. But Yehoshaphat said, is there not here a prophet of Yahuwah, that we may inquire of Yahuwah by him? And one of the kings of Yashar'Al's servant answered and said, here is Al-Yashah, the son of Shaphat, which poured water on the hands of Al-Yah. And Yehoshaphat said, the word of Yahuwah is with him. So the king of Yashar'Al and Yehoshaphat and the king of Adam went down to him. And Al-Yashah said unto the king of Yashar'Al, what have I to do with you? Get to the prophets of your father and the prophets of your mother and the kings of Yashar'Al. Say unto him, nay, for Yahuwah has called these 3 kings together to deliver them into the hand of Moab. And Al-Yashah said, as Yahuwah Sabaoth live, before whom I stand, surely, were it not that I regard the presence of Yehoshaphat, the king of Yehudah, I would not look toward you, nor even see you. But now bring me a minstrel. And it came to pass, when the minstrel played, that the hand of Yahuwah came upon him, and he said, thus says Yahuwah, make this valley to be filled with ditches. For thus says Yahuwah, you shall not see wind, neither shall you see rain, yet the valley shall be filled with water, that you may drink, both you and your cattle and your beasts. And this is but a light thing in the sight of Yahuwah. He will deliver the Moabim into your hand, and you shall smite every fenced city and every choice city, and shall fell every Qadash tree, and stop all the wells of water, and mar every piece of land with stones. And it came to pass in the dawning of the oblation was offered, that behold, there came water by the way of Adam, and the country was filled with water. And when all the Moabim heard that the kings were come up to fight against them, they gathered all that were able to put on armor upward, and stood at the border. And they rose up early in the dawning, and the sun was shining upon the water. And the Moabim saw the water on the other side as being red as blood. And they said, there is blood. The kings are surely slain, and they have smitten one another. Now therefore, Moab is to the spoil. And when they came to the camp of Yashar'Al, Yashar'Al rose up and smote the Moabim, so that they fled before them. But they went forward, smiting the Moabim, even in their country. And they beat down their cities, and every piece of land cast every man his stones and filled. And they stopped all the wells of the water, and felled all the tube trees. Only in Kir Harasath left they stones thereof. Howbeit the slingers went about it and smote it. And when the king of Moab saw that the battle was too sore for him, he took with him 700 males that drew the sword to break through even unto the king of Edom, but they could not do so. Then he took his eldest son that should have reigned in his stead, and offered him for an ascending smoke offering upon the wall. And there was a great indignation against Yashar'Al, and they departed from him and returned to their own land. Wow. Chapter 4. Now there cried a certain woman of the females of the sons of the prophets unto Al-Yasha, saying, your servant, my man, is dead, and you know that your servant did fear Yahuah, and the creditor is come to take unto him my 2 sons to be bondmen or slaves. And Al-Yasha said unto her, what shall I do for you? Tell me what have you in the house? And she said, your handmaid had not anything in the house save a pot of oil. Then he said, go borrow vessels abroad from all your neighbors, even empty vessels. Borrow not a few. And when you are come in, you shall shut the door upon you and your sons, and shall pour out into those vessels, and you shall place aside that which is filled. So she went from him, and shut the door upon her and her sons, who had brought the vessels unto her, and she poured out. And it came to pass, when the vessels were filled, that she said to her sons, bring me yet a vessel. And he say unto her, there is not any more vessels. And the oil did stay. Then she came and told the man of Elohim, and he said, go sell the oil, pay your debts, and live, you and your children, of the rest. Man, Baruk Atah. So it's exactly like what Aliyah did with the one woman and her son, when she said they were going to make cakes, go in and eat and die, and the prophet was told that the meal would not wear out and the oil would not wear out. It's a very similar type of miracle, right? Hallelujah. Okay. And it fell on a day that Al-Yasha passed Shunim, where was a great woman, and she constrained him to eat bread. And so it was that as often as he would pass by, he would turn in and eat bread. And she said unto her husband, behold now, I perceive that this is a Qadashayam of Elohim, which passeth by continually. Let us make a little chamber, I palal, on the wall, and let us bring forth him there a bed, a table, a stool, and a menorah. And it shall be, when he comes to us, that he shall turn in there. And it fell on the day that he came thither, and turned into this chamber, and lay there. And he said to Gehazi, his servant, call this Shunamith. And when he did call her, she stood before him, and he said unto him, say now unto her, behold, you have been careful for us with all this care. What is to be done for you? Would you be spoken for the king, or to the captain of the host? And she said, I dwell amongst my own people. And he said, what then is to be done for her? And the Gehazi answered, truly, she had no child, and her man is old. And he said, call her. And when he had called her, she stood in the door, and he said, about this season, according to the time of life, shall you embrace a son? And she said, nay, my Adonai, man of Elohim, do not lie unto your handmaid. And the woman conceived and bore a son at the season of Al Yasha had said unto her according to the term of life. Man, Baruk Yahuah announcing this miracle is like what the angel told Abraham about his wife, right? And I think there's another one too, and I can't remember. But man, Baruk Yahuah, look at all this. Okay. And when the child was grown, it fell on a day that he went out to his father to the reapers. And he said unto his father, my head, my head. And he said to a lad, carry him to his mother. And when he had taken him and brought him to his mother, he sat on her knees till noon, and then he died. And she went up and laid him on the bed of the man of Elohim, and shut the door upon him, and went out. And she called unto her man, and said, send me, I palal you, one of the young males of one of the asses, that I may run to the man of Elohim, and come again. And he said, wherefore will you go to him today? It is neither new moon nor Shabbat. And she said, it shall be well. Then she saddled an ass, and said unto her servant, drive and go forward. Slack not your riding from me, except I bid you. So she went and came unto the man of Elohim at Mount Carmel. And it came to pass, when the man of Elohim saw her afar off, that he said to Gehazi his servant, behold, yonder is that Shumanith. Run now, I palal, to meet her, and say unto her, is it well with you? Is it well with your man? Is it well with your child? And she answered, it is well. And when she came to the man of Elohim to the hill, she caught him by the feet. But Gehazi came near to thrust her away, and the man of Elohim said, let her alone, for her soul is vexed within her, and Yahuwah has hidden it from me, and has not told me. Then she said, did I desire a son of my Adonai? Did I not say, do not deceive me? Then he said to Gehazi, gird up your loins and take your staff, take my staff in your hand, and go your way. If you meet any man, salute him not. If he salutes you, answer him not again. And lay my staff upon the face of the child. And the mother of the child said, as Yahuwah lives, and as your soul lives, I will not leave you. And he arose and followed her. And Gehazi passed on before them, and laid the staff upon the face of the child, but there was neither voice nor hearing. Wherefore he went again to meet him, and told him, saying, the child is not awake. And when Al Yasha was come into the house, behold, the child was dead, and laid upon the bed. And he went in therefore, and shut the door upon them two, and palal unto Yahuwah. And he went up, and laid the child upon his mouth, and upon his mouth upon his mouth, and his eyes upon his eyes, and his hands upon his hands. And he stretched himself upon the child. This is just like Aliyah did. And the flesh of the child was warmed. Then he returned and walked in the house to and fro, went up and down, stretched himself upon the child, sneezed 7 times, and the child's eyes were then opened. And he called Gehazi and said, call the Shumamith. So he called her, and when she was come in unto him, he said, take up your son. Then she went in and fell at his feet, and bowed before herself to the ground, and took up her son, and went out. Hallelujah. And all Yasha came up again to Galgal, and there was a famine in the land, and the sons of the prophets were sitting before him, and he said unto his servants, place on the great pot, and seethe pottage for the sons of the prophets. And went one out into the field to gather herbs, and found a wild vine, and gathered thereof wild gourds, filling his lap, came and shred them into the pot of pottage, for they knew them not. So they poured out for the males to eat, and it came to pass that they were eating of the pottage, that they cried out and said, O man of Elohim, there is death in this pot. And they could not eat it. But he said, bring meal. And he cast it into the pot, and he said, pour out for the people, that they may eat. And there was no more harm in the pot. Baruk Atah. And there came a man from Baal, Shalisha, and brought the man of Elohim bread of the first fruits, 20 loaves of barley, and full ears of corn in the husk. And he said, give unto the people that they may eat. And the servitor said, what? Should I set it before 100 males? He said, give the people that they may eat, for thus says Yahuwah, they shall eat and shall have leaves or left over, right? So he placed it before them, and they did eat and left thereof according to the word of Yahuwah. Another feeding miracles. Man, Baruk Atah, look at Al Yasha. Al Yasha, Elohim is deliverer. Now Naaman, captain of the hosts of the king of Aram, was a great man with his Adonai and honorable, because by him Yahuwah had given deliverance unto Aram. He was also a mighty man in valor, but he was a leper. And the Amorim had gone out by companies, and had brought away captive out of the land of Yashar'Al a little maid, and she waited on Naam, Zasha, or wife. And she said unto her mistress, would to Elohim my Adonai were with the prophet that is in Shamaron, for he would recover him of his leprosy. And one went in and told his Adonai, saying, thus and thus said the maid that is in the land of Yashar'Al. And the king of Aram said, Go, and I will send a letter unto the king of Yashar'Al. And he departed, and took with him 10 talents of silver, and 6,000 pieces of gold, and 10 changes of raiments. And he brought the letter to the king of Yashar'Al, saying, now, when this letter is come unto you, behold, I have therewith sent Naaman, the servant, to you, that you may recover him of his leprosy. And it came to pass, when the king of Yashar'Al had read the letter, that he rent his clothes and said, am I Elohim to kill and to make alive, that this man sends unto me to recover a man of leprosy? Wherefore consider I Palal, and see how he seeks quarrel against me. And it was so, when Al Yasha, the man of Elohim, heard that the king of Yashar'Al had rent his clothes, that he sent to the king, saying, wherefore have you rent your clothes? Let him come now to me, and he shall know that there is a prophet in Yashar'Al. So Naam came with his horse and with his chariot, and stood at the door of the house of Al Yasha. Al Yasha sent a messenger unto him, saying, go and wash in the Yarden 7 times, and your flesh shall come again to you, and you shall be clean. But Naaman
was wroth, and went away, saying, Behold, I thought he will surely come out to me, and stand and call on the name of Yahuwah Elohiu, and strike his hand over the place, and recover the leper. Are not Abna and Parpar rivers of Damascus better than all the waters of Yashar'Al? May I not wash in them and be clean? So he turned and went away in rage. And his servants came near and spoke unto him and said, My father, if the prophet had bid you to do some great thing, that you would have done it. How much more then that he says to you, Wash and be clean? Then went he down, and dipping himself 7 times in the Yarden, according to the saying of the man of Elohim, and his flesh came again upon him like the flesh of a little child, and he was clean. Man, Baruk Atah Yahuah. And he returned to the man of Elohim. He and all his company came and stood before him and said, Behold, now I know that there is no Elohim in all the earth but in Yashar'Al. Now therefore I palal you, take a baruchah of your servant. But he said, As Yahuwah lives, before whom I stand, I will not receive anything. And he urged him to take, but he would refuse. And Naaman said, Shall there not then, I palal, be given your servant 2 mules, burdens of the earth? For your servants will henceforth offer neither ascending smoke offering nor sacrifice unto other Elohim, but unto Yahuwah alone. In this thing, Yahuwah, pardon your servant, that when my Adonai goes into the house of Ramon to worship there, and he leans on my hand, and I bow myself in the house of Ramon, when I bow down myself in the house of Ramon, Yahuwah, pardon your servant in this thing. And he said unto him, Go in Shalum. So he departed from him a little way. But Gehazi, the servant of Al-Yashah, the man of Elohim, said, Behold, my Adonai has spared Naaman this Arami, in not receiving at his hand that which he brought. But as Yahuwah lives, I will run after him, and take somewhat of him. So Gehazi followed after Naaman, and went. And when Naaman saw him running after him, he lighted down out of his chariot to meet him, and said, Is all well? And he said, All is well. My Adonai has sent me, saying, Behold, even now there have come to me from Mount Ephraim 2 young males of the sons of the prophets. Give them, I palal, a talent of silver and 2 changes of garments. And Naaman said, Be content, take 2 talents. And he urged him and bound him 2 talents of silver in 2 bags and 2 changes of garments, and laid them upon 2 of his servants, and they bore them before him. And when he came to the tower, he took them from the hand and bestowed them into the house, and let the servants go, and they did depart. And he went in and stood before his Adonai, and Al-Yashah say unto him, Whence come you, Gehazi? He said, Your servant went nowhere. And he said unto him, Went not my heart with you when the man turned again from his chariot to meet you? Is it time to receive the money, and receive the garments, and olive yards, and vineyards, and sheep, and oxen, and manservants, and maidservants? The leprosy therefore of Naaman shall cleave unto you, and unto your seed forever. And he went out from his presence a leper, as white as snow. Wow. Oh, man. Whew. Man. I'll tell you what. All Yah and all Yasha don't play around. Just like Yahuwah and Yahusha don't play around either. Okay, don't add to or take away from what is spoken, right? Or written. And the sons of the prophets, chapter 6. And the sons of the prophets said unto all Yasha, Behold, now the place where we dwell with you is too strait for us. Let us go, we palal, unto the Yarden, and take thence every man a beam, let us make a place there where we may dwell. And he answered, Go ye. And one said, Be content at Palal, and go with your servant. And he answered, I will go. So he went with them. And when they came to the Jordan, they cut down wood. But as one was falling abeam, the axe head fell into the water. And he cried and said, Alas, Adonai, because it was a borrowed axe. And the man of Elohim said, Where did it fall? And he showed him the place. And he cut down a stick and cast it thither, and the iron did swim. Therefore he said, Take it up. And he put out his hand, and he did take it up. Then the king of Aram warred against Yashar'Al, and took counsel with his servant, saying, In such and such a place shall be my camp. And the man of Elohim sent unto the king of Yashar'Al, saying, Beware that you pass not such a place, for thither the Aramim are coming down. The king of Yashar'Al sent to the place which the man of Elohim told him and warned him of, and saved himself there, not once nor twice. Therefore the heart of the king of Aram was sore troubled for this thing, and he called his servants and said unto them, Will you not show me which of us is for the king of Yashar'Al? And one of his servants said, None, my Adonai, O king, but Al Yasha, the prophet that is in Yashar'Al, tells the king of Yashar'Al the words that you spoke in your bedchamber. And he said, Go and spy where he is, that I may send and fetch him. And it was told to him, saying, Behold, he is in Dothan. Therefore sent he thither horses and chariots and a great host, and they came by night and compassed the city about. And when the servant of the man of Elohim had risen early and gone forth, behold, a host compassed the city, both on horses and chariots. And his servant said unto him, Alas, my Adonai, how shall we do? And he answered, Fear not, for they that be with us are more than they that be with them. And Al Yasha Palal and said, Yahuah, I Palal, open his eyes that he may see. And Yahuah opened the eyes of the young man, and he saw, and behold, the mountain was filled with horses and chariots of fire round about Al Yasha. And when they came down to him, Al Yasha Palal unto Yahuah, and said, Smite this people, I Palal, with blindness. And he smote them with blindness, according to the word of Al Yasha. Al Yasha say unto him, This is not the way, neither is this the city. Follow me, and I will bring you to the man whom you seek. But he led him to Shamron. And it came to pass, when they were come into Shamron, that Al Yasha said to Yahuah, Open the eyes of these, that they may see me. That they may see. And Yahuah opened their eyes, and they saw, and behold, they were in the midst of Shamron. And the king of Yashar'Al said unto Al Yasha, when he saw them, My father, shall I smite them? Shall I smite them? And he answered, You shall not smite them. When you smite those whom you have taken captive with your sword, with your bow, place bread and water before them, that they may drink, that they may eat, and go to their Adonai. And he prepared great provisions for them. And when they had eaten and had drunk, he sent them away, and they went to their Adonai. So the bands of Aram came no more into the land of Yashar'Al. Making Shalom. And it came to pass after this that Ben-Hadad, the king of Aram, gathered all his hosts and went up and besieged Shalmuran. And there was a great famine in Shalmuran, and behold, they besieged it, until an ass's head was sold for 80 pieces of silver, and the 4th part of a cab of a dove's dung for 5 pieces of silver. Talk about inflation. And as the king of Yashar'Al was passing upon the wall, there cried a woman unto him, saying, Help me, Adonai, O king. And he said, If Yahuwah do not help you, whence shall I help you? Out of the barn floor, and out of the winepress. And the king said unto her, What ails you? And she said, This woman said unto me, Give your son, that we may eat him today, and we will eat my son tomorrow. So we boiled my son, and did eat him, and said unto her on the next day, Give your son now, that we may eat him. But she hid her son. I mean, this is, man, talk about judgment, man. You know, makes you think a lot about, makes me think a lot about what's coming when, you know, it's a day's wage for a loaf of bread, and there is nothing for people to eat what they do. And it came to pass, when the king heard the words of the woman, that he rent his clothes, and he passed by upon the wall. And the people looked, and behold, he had sackcloth within upon his flesh. Then he said, Elohim, do so and more also to me, if the head of Yashar'Al, the son of Shaphat, shall stand on him this day. He's blaming the prophet. But Yashar'Al sat in his house, and the elders sat with him, and the king sent a man before him. But ere the messenger came to him, he said to the elders, See ye how this son of a murderer has sent to take away my head? Look, when the messenger comes, shut the door, and hold him fast at the door. Is not the sound of his Adonai's feet following behind him? And while he yet talked with him, behold, the messenger came down unto him, and said, Behold, this evil is of Yahuwah. What should I wait for Yahuwah any longer? Chapter 7. Then Yashar'Al said, Hear ye the word of Yahuwah. Thus says Yahuwah, Tomorrow about this time shall a measure of fine flour be sold for a shekel, and 2 measures of barley for a shekel. See, up here it was saying how they had to spend all this gold and silver for stuff that's pretty much useless. And then down here it's saying, he's prophesying it's going to be really cheap tomorrow for things that you want, things that have value.
So this mocker comes in here, right? I bet he thinks they Israelites were white or Middle Eastern or something. I'm not an Israelite. That's ISIS Ra and L.
Be gone. Be gone with that nonsense. Then a prince on whose hand the king leaned answered the man of Elohim and said, Behold, if Yahuwah would make windows in heaven, might this thing be? And he said, Behold, you shall see it with your eyes, but shall not eat thereof. His lack of belief, perhaps. And there were 4 leprous males at the entering in of the gate, and they said one unto another, Why sit we here until we die? If we say we will enter into the city, then the famine is in the city, and we shall die there. And if we sit still here, we die also. Now therefore come, and let us fall into the host of the Amorim. If they save us alive, we shall live. If they kill us, then we shall die. And they arose in the twilight to go unto the camp of the Amorim. And when they were come to the uttermost parts of the camp of Aram, behold, there was no one there. For Adonai had made the host of the Aramim to hear a noise of chariots and a noise of horses, even the noise of a great host. And they said one unto another, Lo, the king of Yashar'Al has hired against us the kings of the Chittim and the kings of the Mitzrim to come upon us. Wherefore they arose and fled in the twilight, and left their tents and their horses and their asses, even the camp as it was, and fled for their life. Oh
man, the wicked flee when no one pursues.
And when these lepers came to the uttermost parts of the camp, they went into one tent and did eat and drink, and carried thence silver and gold and raiment, and went and hid it, and came again and entered into the other tent, and carried thence also, and went and hid it. Then they said one unto another, We do not well. This day is a day of great news, and we hold our shalom. If we tarry till the dawning light, some mischief will come upon us. Now therefore come, that we may go and tell the king's household. So they came and called unto the porters of the city, and they told them, saying, We came to the camp of the Amorim, and behold, there was no one there, neither the voice of any man, but horses tied and asses tied, and the tents as they were. And he called the porters, and they told it to the king of the house within. And the king arose in the night and said unto his servants, I will now show you what the Aramim have done to us. They know that we be hungry. Therefore are they gone out of the camp to hide themselves in the field, saying, When they come out of the city, we shall catch them alive and get into the city. And one of his servants answered and said, Let some take, I Palal, 5 of the horses that remain, which are left in the city. Behold, they are as all the multitude of Yashar'Al that are left in it. Behold, I say, they are even as all the multitude of Yashar'Al that are consumed. And let us send and see. They took thereof 2 chariots of horses, and the king sent after a host of the Arameans, saying, Go and see. And they went around unto the Yarden, and lo, all the way was filled with garments and vessels which the Aramim had been casting in their haste. And the messengers returned and told the king, and the people went out and spoiled in the tents of the Aramim. So a measure of fine flour was sold for a shekel, and 2 measures of barley for a shekel, according to the word of Yahuwah. Man, it just reminds me too, because so much of this is so much of all this is a shadow of what's to come. And a time is coming, and prophecies are made that say that you will dwell in houses that you did not build, and drink from vineyards that you did not plant, and eat from fields that you did not sow. Even you imagine 1,000 falling at your left hand and 10,000 falling at your right hand. There's going to be all this stuff that belongs to all these people that are just no longer here. Think about it. And the king appointed the prince, on whose hand he leaned, to have the charge of the gate, and the people trode upon him in the gate, and he did die. And the man of Elohim said, when he spoke to the king, and it came to pass that the man of Elohim had spoken to the king, saying, 2 measures of barley for a shekel, and a measure of fine flour for a shekel shall be tomorrow about this time at the gate of Shamuran. And the prince answered the man of Elohim and said, Now behold, if Yahuwah should make it the windows of heaven open, might such a thing be? And he said, Behold, you will see it with your eyes, but you shall not eat thereof. And so it fell out unto him, for the people trode upon him in the gate, and he did die. Chapter 8. We're making great time. Okay, a bit more to go. We're going to do it. Baruk Atah Yahuah, Hallelujah Yahuwah. Chapter 8. Then spoke Al-Yashah unto the Ashah, whose son he had restored unto life, saying, Arise, go you and your household, and sojourn wheresoever you can sojourn, for Yahuwah has called for a famine, and it shall also come upon the land 7 years. And the woman arose and did after the saying of the man of Elohim, and she went with her household and sojourned in the land of the Pelishtim 7 years. And it came to pass at the 7 years' end that the woman returned out of the land of the Pelishtim, and she went forth to cry unto the king for her house and for her land. And the king talked with Gehazi, the servant of the man of Elohim, saying, Tell me, I Palal, all the great things that Al Yasha has done. And it came to pass as he was telling the king, now he had restored a dead body to life, that behold, the woman whose son had been restored to life cried to the king for her house and for her land. And Gehazi said, My Adonai, O king, this is the woman, and this is her son, whom Al Yasha restored to life. And when the king asked the woman, she told him. So the king appointed her a certain officer, saying, Restore all that was hers, and all the fruits of the field, since the day that she left the land, even until now. Man, Baruk Yahuah, look at that. Yahuah goes before and in front. Whoo! And Al Yasha came to Damascus, and Ben Hadad, the king of Aram, was sick. And it was told him, saying, The man of Elohim is come hither. And the king said unto Chaza'al, Take a present in your hand, and go meet the man of Elohim, and inquire of Yahuah by him, saying, Shall I recover of this disease? So Chaza'al went to meet him, and took a present with him, even a tube thing of Damascus, 40 camels' burdens, and came and stood before him, and said, Your son Ben Hadad, king of Aram, has sent me to you, saying, Shall I recover of this disease? And Al Yasha said unto him, Go say unto him, You may certainly recover, howbeit Yahuah has showed me that he shall surely die. And he settled his countenance steadfastly, and he was ashamed. And the man of Elohim wept. Chaza'al, why do you weep? And he answered, Because I know the evil that you will do unto the children of Yashar'Al. Their strongholds will you set ablaze on fire. Their young will you slay with the sword, and dash the children, and rip up the women with child. And Chaza'al said, But what is your servant, a dog, that he shall do this great thing? And Al Yasha answered, Yahuah has showed me that you shall be king over Aram. Wow. So he departed from Al Yasha and came to his Adonai, who said to him, What said Al Yasha to you? And he said, He told me that you shall surely recover. And it came to pass on the morrow that he took a thick cloth and dipped it in water and spread it upon his face, so that he did die. And Chaza'al reigned in his stead. And in the 5th year of Yoram, the son of Achab, king of Yashar'Al, Yehoshaphat being then king of Yehuda, Yahuram, the son of Yehoshaphat, king of Yehuda, began to reign. 32 years old was he when he began to reign, and he reigned 8 years in Jerusalem. And he walked in the way of the kings of Yashar'Al, as did the house of Achab, for the daughter of Achab was his Asha, and he did evil in the sight of Yahuah. Yet Yahuah would not destroy Yehuda for Daud his servant's sake, as he promised him to give him always a light, and to his children. In the days of Adam revolted from under the hand of Yehuda, and made a king over themselves. So Yoram went over to Sair, and all the chariots with him, and he rose by night and smote the Adamites, which compassed about him. And the captains of the chariots of the people fled into their tents. Yet Adam revolted from under the hand of Yehuda unto this day. Then Libnah revolted at the same time, and the rest of the acts of Yoram, and all that he did, are they not written in the Sephar, the Chronicles of the Kings of Yehuda? And Yoram slept with his fathers, and was buried with his fathers in the city of Daud, and Achaziyahu his son reigned in his stead. In the 12th year of Yoram, the son of Achab, king of Yashar'Al, did Achaziyahu, the son of Yahuram, king of Yehuda, begin to reign. 22 years old was Achaziyahu when he began to reign, and he reigned 1 year in Jerusalem, and his mother's name was Atah Yahuah, the daughter of Omri, king of Yashar'Al. And he walked in the ways of the house of Achab, and did evil in the sight of Yahuwah, as did the house of Achab, for he was the son-in-law of the house of Achab. And he went with Yoram the son of Achab to war against Hazael, king of Aram, in Ramoth Gilead. And the Arameans wounded Yoram. King Yoram went back to be healed in Israel, and of his wounds which the Amorim had given him at Ramah, when he had fought against Hazael the Aram. And Achaziyahu the son of Yahuram, king of Yehuda, went down to see Yoram the son of Achab in Yashar'Al, because he was sick. Chapter 9. And Al-Yasha the prophet called one of the children of the prophets, and said unto them, Gird up your loins, and take up this box of oil in your hand, and go to Ramoth Gilead. And when you come thither, look out there Yahu the son of Yehoshaphat the son of Nimshi, and go in and make him arise from among his brethren, and carry him to the inner chamber. Then take the box of oil and pour it on his head, and say, Thus says Yahuwah, I have anointed you king over Yashar'Al. Then open the door and flee, and tarry not. So the young man, even the young man, the prophet, went to Ramoth Gilead. And when he came, behold, the captain of the host were sitting, and he said, I have an errand to you, O captain. And Yahu said, Unto which of all of us? And he said, To you, O captain. And he arose and went into the house, and he poured the oil upon his head, and said, Thus says Yahuwah, Aluah of Yashar'Al, I have anointed you king over the people of Yahuwah, even Yashar'Al. And you shall smite the house of Achab, your Adonai, that I may avenge the blood of my servants, the prophets, and the blood of all the servants of Yahuwah at the hand of Yazabal. For the whole house of Achab will perish, and I will cut off from Achab him that pisses against the wall, and him that is shut up and left in Yashar'Al. And I will make the house of Achab like the house of Jeroboam, the son of Nebath, and like the house of Basha, the son of Akiyahu. And the dog shall eat Yazabal in the portion of Yisrael, and there shall be none to bury her. And he opened the door and fled. So we got to see the completion of the prophecy against Yazabal, right? Then Yahu came forth to the servant of his Adonai, and said unto him, Is all well? Wherefore come this mad fellow to you? And he said, Ye know the man and his communication. And they said, It is false, tell us now. And he said, Thus and thus spake he unto me, saying, Thus says Yahuwah, I have anointed you king over Yashar'Al. Then they hasted and took every man his garment, and put it under him on top of the stairs, and blew the shupar, saying, Yahu is king. So Yahu the son of Yehoshaphat the son of Nimshi conspired against Yoram, had guarded Ramoth Gilead, he and all Yashar'Al, because Hazael of Aram. But King Yoram was returned to be healed in Israel of the wounds which the Aramim had given him. And he fought with Hazael, king of Aram. And Yahu said, If it be your mind, then let none go forth nor escape out of the city to go until Yashar'Al. So Yahu rode in a chariot and went to Yashar'Al. And Yoram lay there. And Achaziyahu, the king of Yehuda, was come down to see Hiram. And there stood a watchman on the tower of Yashar'Al, who spied the company of Yahu as he came, and said, I see a company. And Yoram said, Take a horseman, and set to meet them. him say, Is it Shalom? So there went on horseback to meet him, and thus did say the king, Is it Shalom? And Yahum said, What have you to do with Shalom? Turn behind me. And the watchman told, saying, The messenger come to them, but he comes not again. Then he sent out a second rider, which came to them, and said, Thus says the king, Is it Shalom? And Yahuwah answered, What have you to do with Shalom? Turn behind me. And the watchman told, saying, He came even unto them, and came not again. And the driving is like the driving of Yahu, the son of Nimshi, for he drives furiously. And Yoram said, Make ready. And his chariot was made ready. And Yoram, king of Yasharal, and Achaz, Yahu, the king of Yehuda, went out, each in their chariot. And they went out against Yahu, and met him in the portion of Nabuth, the Yisraeli. And it came to pass, when Yoram saw Yahu, that he said, Is it Shalom, Yahu? And he answered, What Shalom? So long as the whoredoms of your mother Yazabal and her witchcrafts are multitudes. And Yoram turned his head and fled, and said to Achaziyahu, There is treachery, O Achaziyahu. And Yahu drew a bow with all his strength, and smote Yahuram between his arms, and the arrow went out at his heart, and he sunk down in his chariot. Then said Yahu to Bidkar, his captain, Take up and cast him in the portion of the field of Nabuth the Yazari. For remember how that when I and you rode together after Achab his father, Yahuwah laid this burden upon him. Surely I have seen yesterday the blood of Nabuth and the blood of his sons. Says Yahuwah, I will requite you in this plot. Says Yahuwah, now therefore take and cast him into the plat of ground according to the word of Yahuwah. But when Achaziyahu, the king of Yehuda, saw this, he fled by the way of the garden house. And Yahu followed after him and said, Smite him also in the chariot. And they did so at the going up to Gur, which is by Yiblaam. And he fled to Megiddo and died there. And his servants carried him in a chariot to Jerusalem, and buried him in the sepulchre which is father of his fathers, which is the city of David. And in the 11th year of Yoram, the son of Achab, began Achaziyahu to reign over Yehuda. And when Yahu was come to Yashar'Al, Yazabal heard of it, and she painted her face and tied her hair back her head and tired her head and looked out a window. And as Yahu entered in at the gate, she said, Had Zimri Shalom, who slew his Adonai. And he lifted up his face to the window, and he said, Who is on my side? Who? And there looked out to him 2 or 3 eunuchs, and he said, Throw her down. So they threw her down, and some of her blood was sprinkled on the wall and on the horses, and he trode her under foot. And when he was come in, he did eat and drink, and said, Go, see now this cursed woman, and bury her, for she is a king's daughter. And they went to bury her, but they found no more of her than the skull, and the feet, and the palms of her hands. Wherefore they came again and told him, and said, This is the word of Yahuwah, which was spoken by the servant Aliyah the Tishbe, saying, In the portion of Israel shall dogs eat the flesh of Yizabal, and the carcass of Yizabal shall be as dung upon the face of the field in the portion of Israel. So they shall not say, This is Yashar'Al. Baruk Yahuah. And chapter 10. And Achab had 70 sons in Shamaron, and Yahu wrote letters and sent to Shamaron unto the rulers of Israel, to the alders, and to them that brought up Achab's children, saying, Now as soon as this letter comes to you, seeing your Adonai's sons are with you, and there are with your chariots and horses and fenced cities also, and armor, look even out the best and meetest of our Adonai's sons, and sent him on his father's throne, and fight for your Adonai's house. But they were exceeding afraid, and said, Behold, 2 kings stood not before him. How then shall we stand? And he that was over the house, and he that was over the city, the alders also, and the bringers up of the children, sent to Yahu, saying, We are your servants, and will do all that you shall bid us. We will not make any king do that which is tube in your eyes. Then he wrote a sephar the second time to them, saying, If you be mine, and if you will hearken unto my voice, take ye the heads of the males of your Adonai's son, and come to me to Israel tomorrow this time. Now the king's sons, being servants' persons, were with a great multitude of males in the city, which brought them up. And it came to pass, when the sephar came to them, that they took up the king's sons, and slew 70 persons, and put their heads in baskets, and sent them to Israel. And there came a messenger, and told him, saying, They have brought the heads of the king's sons. And he said, Lay ye them in 2 heaps at the entering in of the gate unto the dawning. And it came to pass in the dawning that he went out and stood and said to all the people, Ye be righteous. Behold, I conspired against my Adonai and slew him. But who slew all these? Now, know now that there shall fall onto the earth nothing of the word of Yahuwah which Yahuwah spoke concerning the house of Achab, for Yahuwah has done that which he spoke by his servant Yah. And Yahu slew all the remnant of the house of Achab in Yashar'Al, and all this great multitude for his kinsfolks and his priests, until he left him none remaining. Whew, man, just like Yahuwah is going to rid all the evil from the earth, right? Yahu. And he arose and departed and came to Shamaron. And he was at the shearing house in the way. Yahu met with the brethren of Achaziah, king of Yehuda, and said, Who are ye? And they answered, We are the brethren of Achaziah, and we go down to salute the children of the king of the children of the queen. And he said, Take them alive. And they took them alive and slew them at the pit of the shearing house, even 42 males, neither left any. And when he was departed hence, he lighted on Yehonadab, the son of Rechab, coming to meet him, and he saluted him and said to him, Is your heart right, as my heart is with your heart? And Yehonadab said, It is. If it be, give me your hand. And he gave him his hand, and he took him up to him into the chariot, and he said, Come with me and see my zeal for Yahuwah. Man, Baruk Yahuah. So they made him ride in his chariot, and when he came to Shamaron, he slew all that remained unto Achab and Shamaron till he had destroyed them, according to the saying of Yahuwah which he spoke of Yah. And Yahu gathered all the people together and said unto them, Achab served Baal a little, but Yahu shall serve him much. Whoa. Now therefore, call unto me all the prophets of Baal, all his servants and all his priests, let none be wanting, for I have a great sacrifice to do to Baal. It's a trick. Whosoever shall be wanting, he shall not live. But Yahuwah did it in subtlety, to the intent that he might destroy the worshippers of Baal. So, man, and this is very much reminding me how in my studies from the scriptures, the army from the north, or the wicked Ruach Ha'Qadash that are going to come out of the bottomless pit, Yahuwah will put a hook in their jaw and steer them to devour their own new world order. So these, in all their pride of serving Baal, are being deceived, right, to their own destruction. This is a very interesting. Yahuwah said, proclaim a solemn assembly for Baal, and they proclaimed it. And Yahuwah sent through all Yashar'Al, and all the worshippers of Baal came, so that there was not a man left that came not. And they came into the house of Baal, to the ballroom, and the house of Baal was filled from one end to the other. And he said unto him, that was over the vestry, bring forth vestments from all the worshippers of Baal. And he brought them forth vestments. And Yahuwah went, and Yehonadab, the son of Rechab, into the house of Baal, and said unto the worshippers of Baal, search and look, that there be here with you none of the servants of Yahuwah, but the worshippers of Baal only. And when they went in to offer sacrifice and ascending smoke offering, Yahuwah appointed 80 males without, and said, if any of them whom I have brought into the house escape, he that lets him go, his life shall be for the life of him that he lets escape. And it came to pass, as soon as he had made an end of offering the ascending smoke offering, that Yahuwah said to the guard and to the captains, go in and slay them, let none of them come forth. And they smote them with the edge of the sword, and the guard of the captain cast them out, and went to the city of the house of Baal. And they brought forth the images of the house of Baal, and burned them. And they broke down the image of Baal, and broke down the house of Baal, and made it a draught house unto this day. Thus Yahuwah destroyed Baal out of Yashar'Al. Let me read that again. Thus Yahuwah destroyed Baal out of the house of Yashar'Al. Howbeit, from the transgressions of Jeroboam, the son of Nebat, who made Yashar'Al to transgress, Yahuwah departed not from after them, to wit, the golden calves that were in Baal, and that were in Dan. And Yahuwah said unto Yahuwah, because you have done well in executing that which was right in my eyes, and have done unto the house of Ahab according to all that was in my heart, your children of the 4th generation shall sit upon the throne of Yashar'Al. But Yahuwah took no heed to walk in the thurah of Yahuwah Elohai of Yashar'Al with all his heart, for he departed not from the transgressions of Jeroboam, which had made Yashar'Al to transgress. In those days, Yahuwah began to make Yashar'Al short, cut Yashar'Al short, and Chazazal smote them in all the coasts of Yashar'Al, from the Yarden eastward, all the land of Gilead, the Gadim, the Raubanim, the Manashim, from Aruar, which is by the river of Arnun, even Galad and Bashan. Now the rest of the acts of Yahuwah, and all that he did, and all his might, are they not written in the Sephar of the kings the Chronicles of the Kings of Yasharal. And Yahu slept with his fathers, and they bury him in Shamaron. And Yahu Akaz his son reigned in his stead. And the time that Yahuwah reigned over Yasharal in Shamaron was 28 years. Man, that was awesome, but even still, he wasn't perfect. You know? Even still, he wasn't perfect. But it's almost like a shadow of the last days for what went on there, and ridding the whole land of all these priests of Baal. Baruk Atah Yahuah. Okay, we have three more chapters. Okay, chapter 11. And when Atah Yahuah, the mother of Achaz Yahuah, saw that her son was dead, she arose and destroyed all the seed royal. But Yahusha, the daughter, or Yahusheba, the daughter of King Yoram, sister of Achaziyahu, took Yoash, the son of Achaziyahu, stole him from among the king's sons which were slain, and they hid him, even him and his nurse, in the bedchamber from Athaliyahu, so that he was not slain. And he was with her, hid in the house of Yahuwah 6 years, and Athaliyahu did reign over the land. In the 7th year, Yahuyada sent and fetched the rulers over hundreds with the captains of the guard, and brought them to him in the house of Yahuwah, and made an oath with them, and took 7 oaths of them in the house of Yahuwah, and showed them the king's son. And he commanded them, saying, This is the thing that you shall do. A third party of you that enter in on the Shabbat shall even be guarded of the watch of the king's house, and the third part shall be at the gate of Kur, and a third part at the gate behind the guard. So you shall watch the house, that it shall not be broken down. And 2 parts of you that go forth on the Shabbat, even they shall guard the watch of the house of Yahuwah about the king. And you shall compass the king round about, every man with his weapon in his hand. And he that comes within range, let him be slain. And be ye with the king as he goes out and as he comes in. And the captains over the hundreds did according to the thing that Yahuyada the priest commanded. And they took every man his men that were come in on the Shabbat, and them that should go out on the Shabbat came to Yahuyada the priest. And to the captains of the hundreds did the priests give King Daud spears and shields, and they were in the temple of Yahuwah. And the guard stood, every man with his weapon in his hand, round about the king, with the right corner of the temple to the left corner of the temple, by the altar of the temple. And he brought forth the king's son, and put a crown upon him, and gave him the testimony. And they made him king, and anointed him. And they clapped their hands, and said, Elohim, save the king. And when Athaliyahu heard the noise of the guard and of the people, she came to the people in the temple of Yahuwah. And when she looked, behold, the king stood by a pillar, as a man was, and the princess and the trumpets by the king, and all the people of the land celebrating and blowing trumpets. Shupars. Athaliyahu rent her clothes and cried, Treason, treason! But Yahuyada the priest commanded that the captain of the hundreds, the officers of the host, would say unto them, Have her forth without the ranges, and him that follow her kill with the sword. For the priest had said, Let her not be slain in the house of Yahuwah. And they laid hands on her, and she went by the way by which the horses come into the king's house, and there she was slain. And Yahuyada cut an oath between Yahuwah and the king and the people, that they shall be Yahuwah's people, between the king also and the people. And all the people of the land went into the house of Baal and broke it down, the altars, the images, the pieces throughout the and thoroughly, and slew Matan, the priest of Baal, before the altars, and appointed priests and officers over the house of Yahuwah. And he took the rulers of hundreds and captains and guards and all the people of the land, and they brought down the king from the house of Yahuwah, and came by the way to the gate of the king's house, and sat on the throne of the king. And all the people of the land gave praise, and the city was quiet, and they slew Atah Yahuah with the sword beside the king's house. 7 years old was Yahuash when he began to reign. Chapter 12. In the 7th year of Yahuash began to reign, and 40 years reigned he in Jerusalem, and his mother's name was Sheba of Beersheba. Yahuash did that which was right in the sight of Yahuwah all the days wherein Yahuiada the priest instructed him. But the high places were not taken away. Dang it. The people still sacrificed and burnt incense in the high places. Yahuash said to the priests, all the money is dedicated of the dedicated things that is brought into the house of Yahuwah, even the money of everyone that passes the account, that money that every man is placed at, and all the money that comes into a man's heart to bring into the house of Yahuwah, let the priests take it to them, every man of his acquaintance, and let them repair the breaches of the house, whosoever any breach shall be found. But it was so that in 23 year of King Yahuash the priest had not repaired the breaches of the house. Then King Yahuash called for Yahuiada the priest, and order the priests, and say unto them, why are you not repairing the breaches of the house? Now therefore receive no more money of your acquaintance, but deliver it for the breaches of the house. And the priest consented to receive no more money of the people, neither to repair the breaches of the house. But Yahuiada the priest took a chest and bore a hole in the lid of it, and placed it beside the altar on the right side, as one comes into the house of Yahuwah. And the priest that guarded the door put therein all the money that was brought into the house of Yahuwah, and it was so. When they saw that there was much money in the chest, and the king's scribe and the high priest came up, and they put up in bags, and told the money that was found in the house of Yahuwah, and they gave the money, being told, into the hands of them that did the work, that they had oversight over the house of Yahuwah. And they laid it out unto the carpenters and the builders that wrought upon the house of Yahuwah, and to the masons, and to the hewers of stones, and to buy timbers and hewed stones to repair the breaches of the house of Yahuwah, for all that was laid out in the house to be repaired. Howbeit, there were not made for the house of Yahuwah bowls of silver, snuffers, basins, trumpets, or vessels of gold, or vessels of silver, of the money that was brought into the house of Yahuwah. But they gave that to the workers, and repaired therewith the house of Yahuwah. Moreover, they reckoned not with the males, into whose hand they did deliver the money to bestow it to the workmen, for they dealt honestly. The trespass money, the chatah money, were not brought into the house of Yahuwah. It was of the priests. Then Azal, king of Aram, went up and fought against Gath, and took it. And Azal set his face to go up to Jerusalem. And Yahuash, the king of Yehudah, took all the hallowed things of Yehoshaphat, and Yahuram and Achaziah, his father, the king Yehudah, had dedicated, and his own hallowed things, and all the gold that was found in the treasures of the house of Yahuwah and in the king's house, and sent it to Cha'azal, king of Aram, and he went away from Jerusalem. And the rest of the acts of Joash and all that he did, are they not written in the Sephar of the Chronicles of the Kings of Yehuda? And his servants arose and made a conspiracy and slew Joash in the house of Milu, which goes down to Silah, and Uzakar, her son, the son of Shemath, and Yahuzabad, the son of Shomer, his servant, smote him, and he died. And they bury him with his fathers in the city of Dawood. And Amatsayahu, his son, reigned in his stead. Okay, last chapter, guys, chapter 13. And there's a big gap where we weren't really talking about Al Yasha, but this one, I believe it does, okay? In the 23rd year of Joash, the son of Achaziyahu, the king of Yehuda, Achaz, the son of Yahu, began to reign over Yashar'Al and Shamaron, and reigned 17 years. And he did that was evil in the sight of Yahuwah, and followed the transgressions of Jeroboam, the son of Nabat, which made Yashar'Al to transgress. He departed not from those. And the anger of Yahuwah was kindled against Yashar'Al, and he delivered them into the hand of Cha'azal, king of Aram, and into the hand of Ben-Hadad, the son of Cha'azal, all their days. And Achaz besought Yahuwah, and Yahuwah hearkened unto him, for he saw the oppression of Yashar'Al, because of the king of Aram had been oppressing them. And Yahuwah gave Yashar'Al a deliverer, so that they went out from under the hand of the Aramim, and the children of Yashar'Al dwelt in their tents as before time. Nevertheless, they departed not from the transgressions of the house of Jeroboam, who had made Yashar'Al to transgress, but walked therein, and there remained Asherah also in Shamaron. Neither did he leave of the people to Yehoachaz but 50 horsemen, and 10 chariots, and 10,000 foot soldiers, for the king of Aram had destroyed them, and had made them like the dust by threshing. Now the rest of the acts of Yehoachaz, and all that he did, and his might, are they not all written in the Sephar of the Chronicles of the Kings of Yashar'Al? And Yehoachaz slept with his fathers, and they bury him in Shamuran, and Joash his son reigned in his stead. In the 37th year of Joash, king of Yehuda, began Yahuash the son of Yehoachaz to reign over Yashar'Al and Shamaron, and reigned 16 years. And he did that which was evil in the sight of Yahuwah. He departed not from all the transgressions of Jeroboam, the son of Nabat, who made Yashar'Al to transgress, but he walked therein. And the rest of the acts of Joash, and all that he did, all his might wherein he fought against Yahu, king of Yehuda, are they not written in the Sephar of the Chronicles of the Kings of Yashar'Al? And Joash slept with his fathers, and Jeroboam sat upon his throne, and Joash was buried in Shamaron with the king of Yashar'Al. Now Al Yasha was fallen sick of his sickness, wherefore he died. Joash the king of Yashar'Al came down unto him, and wept over his face, and said, O my father, the chariot of Yashar'Al, and the horsemen thereof. And Al Yasha said unto him, Take bow and arrow. And he took unto him bow and arrow. And he said to the king of Yashar'Al, Put your hands upon the bow. And he put his hands upon the bow, and Al Yasha put his hands upon the king's hands. And he said, Open the window eastward. And he opened it. Then Al Yasha shot, and he shot And he said, the arrow of Yahuwah's deliverance, and the arrow of deliverance from Aram, for you shall smite the Aramim in Aphach, till you have consumed them. And he said, take the arrows. And he took them. And he said unto the king of Yashar'Al, smite upon the ground. And he smote thrice and stayed. And the man of Elohim was wroth with him and said, you should have smitten 5 or 6 times. Then had you smitten Aram till you had consumed it, whereas now you shall smite Aram but thrice. And Elisha died, and they buried him. And the bands of the Moabim invaded the land at the coming in of the year. And it came to pass, as they were burying a man, that behold, they spied a band of men, and cast the man into the sepulchre of Al-Yasha. And when the man was let down, he touched the bones of Al-Yasha, and he revived and stood upon his feet. But Chaza'al, king of Iran, oppressed Yashar'Al all the days of Yahuah, and Yahuwah was favor-filled unto them, and had compassion on them, and had respect unto them, because of his oath with Abraham, Yitzchak, and Yaakov, and would not destroy them, neither cast them from his presence as yet. So Chaza'al, king of Aram, died, and Ben-Hadad the son reigned in his stead, and Yahuash the son of Yahuah took again out of the hand of Ben-Hadad the son of Chaza'al the cities which he had taken out of the hand of Yahuah his father by war. 3 times did Yoash beat him, and recovered the cities of Yashar'Al. Well, there is much more, obviously. This is meat all through here, but I wanted to just spend some time on Al-Yah. Yah is Elohim, and Al-Yasha, Elohim is deliverer, Baruk Atah. I did think just now as I was reading to maybe close with I think that it's the last chapter of Hanuk, because I want to encourage you, I want to lift you up, I want to strengthen you in amunah and submission and obedience to Yahuwah. So may Abba direct me properly, because I'm not positive that this is what I recall, but I believe that it was. There are a lot of chapters in the book of Enoch, huh? I wonder if I could be thinking of the last part of the book of Jubilees, because it's very easy to get mixed up. Certain things, you know what I'm saying, family? So let's just look at this. This is chapter 50 of the book of Yubalim. I'm going to kind of read this one, and then I'm going to do a Bing's Palah, and then I'm going to let you go. All right. May Yahuwah barak you and strengthen you and give you his shalom. Yubalim 50. Pretty fitting that there's 50 chapters in Yubalim, which is 50, right? And after this Thurah, I made known to you the days of the Shabbats in the desert of Sinai, which is between Yilim and Sinai. And I told you of the Shabbats of the land of Mount Sinai, and I told you of the Yubalim years and the Shabbats of years, but the year thereof have I not told you, till you enter the land which you are to possess, and the land also shall guard Shabbaths while they dwell upon it, and they shall know the Jubileum year. Wherefore I have ordained for you the year, weeks, and the year, and the Jubileum. There are 49 Jubileum from the day of Adam unto this day, and 1 week and 2 years, and there are yet 40 years to come from the learning of the commandments of Yahuwah until they pass over into the land of Canaan, crossing the Yarden to the west. And the Jubilee shall pass until Yashar'Al is cleansed from all guilt and fornication and uncleanness and pollution and chata and error, and dwells with confidence in all the land. And there shall be no more Hashatan or any evil one, and the land shall be clean from that time and forevermore. So it's not that he's removed, the Hashatan is removed, and then there's a millennial reign, and then he comes back. That's silliness. So this is a very great witness right here, right? There shall be no more Hashatan or any evil, and the land shall be clean from that time forevermore. That reign is an everlasting reign. Everlasting reign. And behold, the commandment regarding the Shabbos, I have written them down for you, and all the judgments of its thurah. 6 days shall you labor, but on the 7th day is the Shabbat of Yahuwah Elohim. In it you shall do no manner of work, you or your sons or your maidservant or your manservant or your cattle or your sojourners who is with you. And the man that does any work on it shall die. Whosoever desecrates that day, whosoever lies with his woman, or whosoever says he will do something on it, that he will be placed, that he will debark on a journey thereon, in regards to any buying or selling, or whosoever draws water thereon, which he had not prepared for himself on the 6th day, whosoever takes up any burden to carry it out of his tent or out of his house shall die. And you shall do no work whatsoever on the Shabbat, save what you have prepared for yourself in the 6th day, so as to eat and to drink, rest, guard the Shabbat from all work on that day, and to Baruk Yahuah Elohim, hallelujah, Yahuwah Ta'ala, who has given you a day of feast and a Qadash day, a day of the Qadash kingdom. For all Yashar'Al is this day among their days forever. For great is the esteem which Yahuwah has given to Yashar'Al, that they shall eat and drink and be satisfied on this feast day, and rest thereon from all labor, which belongs to the labors of the children of Adam, save burning incense and bringing oblation and sacrifices before Yahuwah, for days and for Shabbats. This work alone shall be done on the Shabbat in the sanctuary of Yahuwah Elohim, that they may atone for Yashar'Al with sacrifice continually from day to day, from memorial, well-pleasing before Yahuwah, and that you may receive them always from day to day, according as you have been commanded. So this isn't only, it's talking about the new moon days and the fixed feast days and the Shabbat days rest, right? Because there's a multitude of Shabbatun. All right. Every man who does any work thereon, or goes on a journey, or tills his farm, whether in his house or in any other place, whosoever lights a fire, rides on any beast, or travels by ship on the sea, whosoever strikes or kills anything, or slaughters a beast or a bird, or whosoever catches an animal or a bird or a fish, or whosoever fasts or makes war, on the Shabbats. A lot of people get confused about this right here, and I'm pretty sure it's how they wrote that. But it's just like beginning a long journey and beginning a fast. We obviously know Qadash people kept fast for longer than 7 days. Masha, Yahusha, we just read about Aliyah or Al Yasha, one of them, ate 2 meals. The angel told him to eat. The food and the drink was just there, and he rested, and he told him to eat again, and then he went for 40 days. I don't remember exactly where it was, but we just read it. The man who does any of these things on the Shabbat shall die, so that the children of Yashar'Al shall observe the Shabbats according to the commandment regarding the Shabbats of the land, as is written on the sapphire stones, which he gave into my hand, that I should write out for you the Thurah of the seasons, and the seasons according to the divisions of their days. Herewith is completed on account the divisions of the days. Well, that's definitely not the one that I was thinking about, but that's totally okay. That's cool. Let's keep the Shabbat Qadash, right? All right, so let me go ahead and do Abinu's Palau. That's quite enough for one sitting here. Okay, Yahuah. Abinu's Palau, Yahuah's Palau. Abinu Bashamayim Kadash Ki Shamka. Malakutka Bua Ya Rauka Shah. All Aratz Khan Bashamayim Natan Lanu Chayim At Lacham Bahat Sarak. Our Father in heaven, placed apart is your name. Your kingdom come and your will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our bread in the need. Salach lanu lachatainu, ki lanu salachutam, lachataimkum kara lanu, parat lanu lata'ah, yasha lanu marasha, la malakut kashalat chakachu hakabad bahasham okal shamut. Forgive us for our crimes as we forgive them for their crimes against us. Lead us not astray and rescue us from evil. For your kingdom reigns in all power and esteem, in the name above all names. Yahuwah is Yahusha. Hallelujah. Shalom, shalom, mashpaka.